this is Jenny from Crazy Grateful Asians, and I'm so excited today to have Dale Ting on my episode. I met Dale back in Boston last October in the ACE Next Gen conference, and he is an entrepreneur. He is also somebody who loves to travel around the world, currently lives on the beach here at Redondo Beach in LA, and I'm super excited to share his story with all of you. So Dale, why don't you just do a quick intro about who you are?
Sure. Let's see. I call myself a lifestyle entrepreneur. I live right on Redondo Beach. It's been a goal of mine for a while. Was able to do that maybe 2 years ago, so I was able to come up to California. I lived in the Midwest most of my life. I was born in Texas, but I grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I went to work in Ohio. Lived in Cincinnati for 13 years, and then quit my job and decided to go off and do my own thing. So went back, lived with my parents for a year at the age of 37.
Tough. Wow.
That was fun. And then after that, started getting some more traction with my business, and I'm going to move up to Southern California because the weather's nice here.
Yes.
So here we are. Look at this. This is what, February, and we're outside.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more. I mean, that was a lot to unpack. What was it like growing up in the Midwest?
So, I mean, everyone says, when I say I'm from Wisconsin, everyone's like, oh, there are any Asians there? And you know, there's Asians there. But also growing up, I just didn't know any better. It's just the way it is. And I had lots of white friends because there's a lot of white people around. And that was fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I have my friends that are also Asian as well, from back there. They all moved to California as well.
Oh,
pretty
okay.
much, but
California's the place to be.
Yeah, apparently. Taxes are high, but weather's nice. So yeah, I mean, it was I just didn't know any better. It was fine. I grew up and just kind of integrated with everybody. It wasn't until I got to my professional career, maybe 3 years in, where my company decided to had some like a diversity thing where they tried to do more diversity hiring, and then they wanted me to help lead the Asian affinity group for that. So then they pulled me on and did that. For me, that was a little bit shocking because it's like, wait, I'm doing all right, and all of a sudden you're pulling me out and doing this. So so then that's where I started involved with the Asian
So you didn't think actually it was like a good thing that you were doing?
No, not initially. I mean, it's like, I'm doing fine. Why are you pulling me out and singling me out and calling me different?
Yeah.
Because my whole life I'm trying to be
the same
with everybody. So yeah.
Wow. So can you talk a little bit about your transition from your career to deciding to be a lifestyle entrepreneur? Like, what made you decide to do that?
I think just my whole career, I've just kind of wanted to do my own thing. I think I don't do well with people telling me what to do.
Okay.
Especially if they're not good bosses. Now, luckily for me, I worked at a pretty good company. So I've had at worst a mediocre boss. At best, they're pretty good. Yeah. But just like doing my own thing. And I think I actually was, you know how they do ratings in corporations. I was actually rated below expectations twice.
Wow,
twice in my
okay.
life. So, and I was promoted between there. So I don't understand how that works. But so I just think the corporate world just didn't fit me. And I just like doing my own thing. And And during
that time, was that a surprise? Like, do you feel like you were working really hard and you were meeting expectations? Or do you feel like you were underperforming? Like,
I feel like it wasn't performing up to my potential, for sure. A lot of things like following processes that were predetermined and things like that. Yeah. And just I didn't see the value. If I didn't see the value, I just didn't do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Right. I mean, sometimes in the corporate space, there's all these protocols you have to follow, and it's like so bureaucratic and it's unnecessary, but it's part of the process. Right.
And also in the corporate world, they value specificity. Like if you they want you to do a specific thing well versus being like well-rounded and good at everything. So as an entrepreneur, you're better off being well-rounded and good at most things.
Yes. Yeah, that's interesting. So you mentioned that you went back home, lived with your parents for a bit when you were launching your business. Right. How long has it been since you've been running your business, and what has the trajectory looked like?
So I left P&G. That was the company I was at, Procter & Gamble. I left them in 2011, so that was, 8 years ago?
Yeah.
And did part-time for 3 years after that. So then I kind of eased my way into the whole thing.
That's good.
So I did that for 3 years, and then I was on my own for a year. Yeah. And then after that, I moved out here for, it's been, 2-3 years now.
Yeah.
But it always starts like you have no clue what's going on. You don't know if it's
Yeah.
going to happen. You don't know if it's going to work out.
Yeah.
But it seems like 3 years is about right for most people. So.
Well, the statistic, right, is that in 3 years you either fail in your business or you succeed. So right now, how do you feel like you're doing?
I would say it's a success right now. If I were to go back and tell my self 3 years ago that this is where I'd be really happy with myself. So I think it's a success. It's not a wild success yet. So I'm working on that. Yes. trying to do that part.
So tell us a little bit more, like, what does your normal, typical day look like? You know, what is this lifestyle you've built up for yourself?
I try to wake up. I try to do 2 hours of work in the morning. I don't set an alarm. Like I was telling you today, I set an alarm for my naps because I had to get out here and get here on time. So that doesn't happen very often. So I try to I just wake up. And usually I wake up at 7 or 8 anyway, even like 7. Like today it was like 6.
Yeah.
So I try to get a couple hours of work done in the morning, go grab lunch, and then usually take a nap.
Yeah, naps are awesome.
Great. And then I try to get 2 more hours in the afternoon. So it's 4 hours a day. People say, "Oh my God, you're so lazy, 4 hours a day." But it's 7 days a week for me. Yeah. And then at night, if I have time, I'll do more, and it's fun. And I always say, like, people that work in the corporate world, studies have shown you only really do 3 hours of productive work. So I actually outwork you guys. Yeah,
because you're at the water cooler, you're taking breaks, you're grabbing coffee, meetings, right?
So yep.
And then, like, so you live on the beach, right? So, like, how do you incorporate that into your life? Why is that important to you?
Why is it important? I think, I don't know why. I guess growing up, it's just always been the thing I wanted to do, is go live on the beach. It really clears your head. It's really relaxing. You never go walk on the beach and come back and be unhappy.
Right,
You always feel better about life in general. I really enjoyed doing that. It was on my vision board for about 4 or 5 years. And then now I'm here. I'm in Redondo Beach and doing that. So
it was funny because I was doing like a Facebook Live the other day, and Dale was down the beach from me, and we like met up on the beach. And I was like,
"You're right downstairs."
Yeah.
So I'm gonna
but it is really great because like when you're by the beach, it's just so calm, and it's like it's very therapeutic to like go along the beach and like just hear the waves.
I can hear them all night. It's the best part of it. And about a couple weeks ago, it was pretty windy, so the waves are pretty high. And I was thinking, oh, they're kind of loud today. But I'm like, wait a minute, like nobody's. It's first world problem, right?
It's different from being in like New York City and hearing people shout at each other and like traffic all the time.
Right. Like waves are too loud. Yeah, first world problem.
Yeah. So what about like your family? Are they supportive of you being an entrepreneur?
I think it's more my dad is a little scared when I first told him this is what I wanted to do. He was concerned, very concerned. Yeah. So I think that's a lot of it. Recently, I think it's been better.
Yeah. They understand a little bit more what you're doing.
Right. They get it.
Yeah.
In fact, the story is the year I was in Milwaukee living with my parents, my nephew was born. So I got to hang out with my nephew from birth to 1 year old.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. Nice. And my mom was like, well, told my sister, like, because they were working, so they didn't have to see the baby that much. So my mom told my sister, why don't you do what Dale's doing so you can be, with your kid more longer. So that was like, whoa, they get it. They get what I'm trying to do. So
that's actually a good point, right? Because like if you have your own business, you have more time with your kids.
Right. Yeah. And
you have more time with your kids than your sister did.
That's right. Exactly.
With her kids.
And now she's doing her own thing too. So they all moved out to California, and then now she's doing the same thing. So I've encouraged her.
Nice.
As well, or inspired her, which is what I like doing.
Yeah, that is very inspiring. And I noticed that like you started this Asian support group for Asian entrepreneurs. Like, so clearly you love to be engaged and inspiring other people to take this path that you've had. Right. What has that been like to share this with other people?
Well, it started because that year off while I was at home, like I didn't have friends. I mean, I moved back home, but all my friends are gone. And I'm just doing this entrepreneur thing where I'm not working every day. So I wanted a community. I started a Facebook group. And then put a couple friends in there that I knew were entrepreneurs or wanted to be. And that thing has grown to be about 600 plus people now, and it's just great being around that community and helping each other out. You just joined it, so you'll see. People get it. Everybody understands what we're going through, so it's really awesome to have a community like that. That's really helpful.
Yeah. And I think specifically too, being an entrepreneur, like yes, it's already a lonely thing, but like how do you feel like being an Asian entrepreneur? Is that any different? Like how has being Asian impacted you in being an entrepreneur?
So Asian American entrepreneur is different because our values are to be stability and don't want to fail, and doctor, lawyer, engineer. So those are the things that define success. And an entrepreneur does not needs to embrace failure.
Yes.
And also we don't have stability. That's how it is. And So getting over that cultural aspect of it is a little hard. So that's why we need that community to show that there's other people that are doing that too.
Yeah. So can you share an experience in which you failed?
Experience where I failed, there's plenty. I'm not going to pretend there isn't. There's a lot.
So one example.
I sell cleaning products, and I sell a lot of products on Amazon, and I probably sell about 5 or 6 different products.
Yeah.
But I've tried maybe 15, 20.
Yeah. So not everyone's going to be a winner.
Right. I guess there's another thing. My first thing I worked on was a textbook site. When I was in my MBA school, that was right as Amazon was starting to sell textbooks. So I was showing people to buy their textbooks on Amazon.
Right.
And I think it did okay.
Yeah.
I was at Xavier University, and they did that.
Cool.
But I'm not doing that anymore.
Right.
So that's done. But I don't consider them bad failures.
Right. No, you learn lessons from them, and you need to know when to pivot and move on to better.
And I believe in failing fast and cheap.
Yes.
So just do that, and it's not that big a deal.
Failing fast and cheap. That's a good point.
That's just tuition.
Yes. So actually, in your business, like, how have you been funding it? Is it all self-funded? Did you get any investment? Like, how?
No, I'm all self-funded. So, like I said, fail fast and cheap, right? So everything I do is I put at most maybe $1,000 down at risk, at most.
That's good.
So, and then if it takes off, then it takes off. Or else I don't take the big risks.
Yes.
Maybe in the future when I have more revenue and stuff, I can start taking bigger risks.
Yeah.
But right, that's it's kind of a misnomer. You don't have to take that big risk, mortgage your whole house and all that stuff to get a business going.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Yeah, I think that's great. So $1,000 to start your own business, and it's sustainable for you to live this lifestyle where you're living on the beach and enjoying life.
Yeah, it's doable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what about, talk a little bit more about like your work-life balance. Like, when did you kind of decide that you wanted to have this kind of lifestyle? Were you working extreme hours before?
It wasn't too bad. I think I tried to live this lifestyle during my corporate career, which probably didn't help.
Did?
Didn't help.
No wonder, underperforming.
Yeah, exactly. I was in a role that required me to be at the plant, so they're usually in the middle of nowhere. The story is like there's this one plant that's about 2 hours away from Cincinnati that I was supposed to be at, and they wanted to be there 3 times a week. And people would drive up, and I would drive on company time. So I would leave at 7:30, get there at 9:30, and then leave at 3:30, get home at 5:30.
Oh,
and people really didn't do that.
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah. So normally they would commute even before that, get in at 7:30, stay all the way till 5:30, and then leave. So you just incorporate it into the hours.
For me, it didn't feel efficient.
Yeah.
So I didn't do that. But so that's one of the things. So I think I've always wanted to just have a good work-life balance, and I always call myself smart and lazy.
Yeah.
I try to be that way, and just try to enjoy life the way it is. But with doing it this way, I have control over that. I can design a business to do what I want to do.
And I think that's a good lesson, like being smart and lazy. So in what ways do you feel like you've worked smarter and not harder?
Well, I take naps every day.
Okay, naps are great.
Everything I do is I try to create. Right now I have an assistant, a part-time assistant. That helps. I try to create. I just look for certain products and industries where it's more hands-off kind of thing. So right now I sell Amazon products. I also sell a membership for a football picks site, so things like that. So I just send out an email, and it doesn't matter, how many people are on that email list. It's just one button to send it. So things like that.
Right.
There's
so
ways
very
to do
passive income.
Right.
You were talking about the group that you had created. Now that you're in California, you're involved in a lot of different organizations like ACE Next Gen, which is how we met.
Yep.
What kind of made you decide to be involved in these organizations, and like what does it mean in your life for you?
Well, it's being this kind of a time flexible schedule, I'm able to be part of all these organizations and do more volunteer work. It's fun. It's giving back. It's also just being around people that kind of are similar to you. You do get benefits at some point. At some point, you probably will. It's one of those things you contribute to karma in the world, and it'll come back to you. And I meet a lot of neat people with it. You're one of them. I met you.
Thank you.
And then like the founder of Boba Guys. And
right.
And 7 Leaves and all this stuff, and just all these people that have founded things and started things, and then able to give back to like younger people that are just growing up, just starting their careers, and showing them there's more than one way to have a career, and all the things that our parents don't teach us. They tried their best, but there's some things that they don't know.
Right.
and stuff that our school didn't teach us as well.
Yes.
So those are a few of the things I'm passionate about.
Yeah. And I think it's really great because there's so much diversity in the organization. There's people who are entrepreneurs, people who want to be entrepreneurs, and all sorts of different industries, whether it's like products or services. Like last night's event was about, you know, featuring different industries from insurance to footwear to wealth management and like apparel. And so I think that's really cool. What are some of the coolest, I guess, like other entrepreneurs you've kind of met that have influenced you in your path?
Oh, okay. So, I mean, we talk about Boba Guys, right?
Yeah.
So, Andrew Chow, one of the founders of Boba Guys, his whole thing is to bridge culture. So that's part of his company's mission. But then after talking to him, it's also his like life mission as well with this political environment. His job, he wants to bridge the two cultures and put them together. So that's kind of really neat. One of the businesses that I noticed that are really neat. And I try to be like them.
And what does that mean to you, like bridging cultures? Like in what way?
Well, it's like because being Asian American, you're basically bridging two cultures, and you've got two different worlds that you're dealing with. When I was at work, we talked about how to be how to get promoted at work, which is to try to be more like the people that are at work.
Which is a very different type of people from you.
Well, a little bit. I mean, it's the whole Western ideals of leadership and speaking and trying to show off and just show that who you are. Okay. And I was trying to push that. Well, if you're actually trying to leverage diversity, you want to also leverage the older cultures and their strengths and do things like that. So that's kind of what it means to me, the bridging cultures part. Yeah.
So in terms of talking about like bridging cultures and being Asian American, like what do you think from your upbringing has kind of contributed to who you are?
My upbringing. So I mean, I grew up in the Midwest. So out there, it's just more family oriented. I think it's a smaller area, just less people. So you have to be nice to people.
Because being nice to people is a good thing.
That would be good. Coming out here in LA, it's a little different. So many people out here. There's a lot of people with a lot of different agendas. There's a lot of good people as well. You just have to find them. So that's. So I'm bridging that culture as well, the Midwest culture with the LA culture. Yeah. So I'm doing that, and then the entrepreneur culture with the corporate culture, and then for me also the Gen X culture with the Gen Y culture, because I'm in between those two. The Zennial, I guess to call it. The Xennial.
What does that mean to you? How do you feel like it impacts you?
So the millennials get a lot of press. They talk a lot about millennials, how they're doing this, how they're doing that. And then I feel like my generation's, I don't know if it's actually called this, but it's like the lost generation, where it's like you get people that aren't quite millennials, but not quite boomers, not quite Gen X. And so we don't get the press, we don't get the attention. But on the other hand, we're also older and more experienced. So
do you feel lost?
I don't feel lost. I feel like I can help the millennials. This is probably one reason why I do this.
Yeah, right.
What I would like to do is try to maybe get more involved with the people older than me. That's trying to pull myself up a little bit to help pull the people, or else I'm going to get overtaken by the millennials like you. So.
And then you were talking how like Midwest is so like family oriented. Like, do you get pressure from your parents to be like starting a family and stuff like that?
a lot. But I'm to the point now where I think my dad's giving up on this. He's no longer like actively pushing. He's more being snarky and being passive aggressive about it. It's pretty fun. It's actually pretty funny. I don't know. Recently, there's an article or a story that came out about this mom that was swooping around campuses looking for a date for her son. I don't know if you read that article.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, there's this article, and the police were called, and they said, she's not doing anything illegal, but we'd like her to stop doing that. So I went over to visit my family, and my dad's like, "Oh, did you see this article?" I'm like, "Yeah, isn't that funny?" And he goes, "I'm going to start doing that."
So your dad is trying to hunt somebody for you to date.
Yes, and then not owning a house, which is a big deal for them. It's a problem, I guess. And then just not,
because they want you to have that stability.
I think that they feel like owning the house is required, I guess, for getting married.
Interesting.
And then not having the big title job, like I'm the vice president or some bank or something. I don't have that. Yeah. So
they have a vision of like who they want you to be and what makes you more like marriage material. Right. How do you feel about that?
It doesn't bother me. I'm at the point where I don't care about it anymore. I mean, not that I don't care. It's just like I need to run my life the way I want to, and I'm going to. That's not what's going to happen, and they're fine. I'm over 40, so I know what I'm doing. Right. And the right person will come by, and that'll happen. So this is who I am. Right. I can't change.
And I think that's really important, knowing who you are, and like despite your families, loving intentions, right? Like at the end of the day, only we can live our lives. So whatever we want, like rather than succumbing to their expectations, it's having that clear vision for ourselves. It's more important than bending to other people's wills, if that's going to make us unhappy.
It's a lot hard. It's really hard because I know other people who aren't able to, like maybe their parents are stricter, or maybe they feel more like they need to listen to their parents more. It's really hard because you do want to listen to them. You want to obey them because that's what you're brought up to do.
You love them. You care about them.
But on the other hand, you have to do your thing. So it's that balance and it's that struggle.
Okay. Well, now we're gonna do a couple of Spitfire questions.
Spitfire. All right.
Yeah. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. So, what is your favorite food?
Favorite food? Wow. Well, you got favorite drink up next, so I can't use boba as a favorite food. I do like Chinese food, but being out in Redondo Beach, I've had a lot of Japanese food too. So I think the ramen, I've started to really appreciate ramen.
Ramen is
really good ramen out here. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then you kind of answered it. What's your favorite drink?
Boba. I think that's the hottest drink, I guess. I guess that's a food and a drink because it's got tapioca balls in there too. So
yeah, but I wouldn't consider that a food. Like you wouldn't eat that as a meal.
No, you wouldn't. So,
yeah.
But no, it's like the in thing for some reason, and it's fun, and you can drink it. And in the Midwest, we didn't have it as much. So when I moved out here, it was all over the place, and then I get to meet all these boba founders, boba company founders and stuff. So.
Right, exactly. We already did a shout out to Andrew Chow from the Boba Guys.
That's right.
I'm going to try that next in San Francisco, so I'm very excited.
There you go.
Do they have them here in LA too?
They do.
Oh, okay, cool.
There's one in Culver City out here.
Oh, all right. Well, Culver City, Boba Guys, check them out. What about your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Oh, I love Toy Story.
Oh,
Toy Story 1. Because I just love the fact that, I mean, the movie is like, all these toys when they're all doing this stuff, it's like it's almost something that could happen, like in your mind. I have trouble suspending disbelief when I'm watching movies. Like, oh, there's no way. I'm sitting there analyzing it.
Yeah.
But when you have a bunch of toys walking around talking, there's really not much disbelief to suspend there. You just gotta let it go, and it's like I can see that. happening with my toys.
Yeah, and I think it's the sentimental value of it too, about like friendship, right?
Yeah,
and like that bond between the boy and the toys.
I love Pixar movies.
Yeah.
They're the best.
What about your favorite book?
Favorite book? So Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I read in 2001, I think, when I first started at the company.
Yeah.
And that I read. It's a really easy read. I read it cover to cover, and wanted to quit my job the next day. And it teaches concepts really well about entrepreneurship.
Yes.
I wouldn't recommend actually doing what he says in the book, like real estate. He's the author, Robert Kiyosaki. He's a little bit of a douchebag now, but
he's extreme. He has extreme views.
Yep. But the book is really good. The concepts are awesome, and I would love to teach people using that kind of a method.
Yeah. Do you feel like your dad reflected a lot of what the poor dad's mentality was?
It's funny because I call him Poor Dad sometimes.
Oh,
it's kind of a running joke.
Yeah.
So it's for Asian mentality. Go to school, get a job, and do stuff like that, and look for stability. Right.
And that's the irony of the book. The poor dad is the one was highly educated, government job, stuck it out, was there many years, but when you really think about like what's in the long run going to be the best interest for yourself, the rich dad like completely thought about everything very differently. And do you have like a rich dad, like father figure mentor?
I don't, and that's the interesting thing is we don't have many role models like that, which is why I listen to a lot of podcasts. Right. I try to use them as my mentor, my role models. Yeah. And I'm trying to be one for people. Yeah. And I'm hoping to find other ones and build a community of other ones too.
Cool. I mean, I listen to a lot of like Tony Robbins and Warren Buffett, and I think
Warren Buffett.
So it's good to listen to people, mentors, if we don't have that in our life, like podcasts, audiobooks, like all of those are so important to learn these things that aren't taught to us in school or at work or in life in general.
Exactly.
What is your spirit animal?
Spirit animal. Well, I was trying to think like what's an animal that's kind of like just hangs out and it sleeps all the time and then gets up and just does whatever. And
a sloth.
A sloth. But a sloth seems kind of lazy.
So you're not as lazy as a sloth.
Maybe smarter. Something just like
gets
up,
panda?
gets food. Panda seems kind of lazy too.
Yeah.
But I've been told that I use honey badger just because I'm from Wisconsin. So not because I eat snakes or anything like that, but that's because I'm from Wisconsin. And
honey badger don't care.
That's right. I guess I don't care, but I'll come up with a better one at some point.
Okay. All right. You'll have to think about that. What do you think is your superpower?
I think I'm able to be. I'm able to get things done in a smart way. smart, lazy way, smart, efficient maybe,
Yeah.
efficient way, and to try to communicate that in it's also to teach people and to communicate things in a way that's easily understandable. So kind of like that Rich Dad Poor Dad book, where you can just say it in a way that's simple. So I would love to do more things like that for entrepreneurship. So.
Kind of like a Tim Ferriss.
The 4-hour work week, the Asian 4-hour work week, the Asian Tim Ferriss.
Oh, interesting. The Asian Tim Ferriss.
That'd be great.
But yours is 4-hour work day, right? Not 4-hour work week. For now,
okay.
Okay.
If I go 4-hour work week, I think I'm going to be bored the rest of the week. So I mean, I don't mind 4 hours a day.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
What would you do with your time if you didn't have to work?
I would still do stuff. I would just maybe not need the money anymore. I would try to. I want to create I want to solve the world's problems. I want to make a lot of money. I'm an engineering background, so I like solving problems. There's a lot of problems in the world. The whole politics thing, where there's two extreme sides and people just yelling and screaming at each other. I feel like the world needs a therapist, just like the country needs a therapist.
I think that would be really great if people would just talk their problems out more in a way where they're actively listening to each other and understanding one another. Wouldn't that be so nice?
That would be nice. How would we do that? That's the problem I want to solve.
Okay.
I mean, homelessness is another problem, but I want to take a problem-solving approach. Like, why is it a problem? And then just kind of get down to the root cause and try to do that, fix that. Like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Actually, I went to tour that museum, and kind of like the same philosophy that Bill Gates uses. It's really cool. I'd like to be like him.
Okay. And then the last question to end this with is just, what in your life do you feel like you're the most grateful for?
I'm grateful for what my parents did. Seeing now all the people that are struggling to get U.S. citizenship, to get green cards, and how much of a struggle that is. And me being born here, I didn't have to worry about that at all. Parents took care of all that. They emigrated from Taiwan, came out here, and went through all the green card process and all that stuff, and did all that. And I just am naturally born with this citizenship that I've got. So I'm very grateful for that as well. And I have a lot of opportunities. We talk a lot about how we're Asians might be a minority and they have a hard time this and that, the bamboo ceiling or whatever happening, but I'm also very lucky as well. I have a lot of opportunities, and I grew up in a nice environment, and so I'm very grateful for that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for
problem.
sharing your story. This was so inspiring. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Crazy Grateful Asians featuring Dale Ting. Where can they find more information about you?
So I've got a website I'm still working on. entreasians.com. So that's the main one. I have a blog at daleting.com. I have a name that's it's more unique, so I can get that. daleting.com.
And we'll link it below how you can stay in touch with Dale. So thanks again for joining us on another episode of Crazy Grateful Asians.
Bye.
Bye.